Thank you, Ceann Comhairle. The thousands of concerned citizens that have protested outside our gates today are in fact reflective of the nation's views that this government is still not getting the message on their failures in housing. The message on housing is simple, but it also involves radical and realistic action. I stated just last week, and it needs to be stated again, the Irish housing crisis can be solved. It is resolvable if the resources of our republic are put fully behind the simple premise. The Irish state must ensure that we have adequate supply of affordable housing units for both long-term rental by local authorities and for sale to citizens who have the legitimate ambition to own a home. The state must ensure that the right to housing is not just an aspiration that is inserted into our constitution to make us feel good. The right for Irish citizens to a home is the responsibility of the state to manage. This government still believes that it is a market anomaly that will fix itself with short-term fixed improvements to funding. The current housing market that operates in Ireland is designed to be boom and then bust. We should have learned the lessons of the disastrous consequence of that model. The basic commodity needed for any housing is land. The land's value is maximised and hoarded during high demand periods such as now, and brought at rock bottom prices during low periods. This market cannot be allowed uncontrolled power over the lives of our citizens. The state's responsibility will be to help the stability of the private market is to build and maintain a large stock of affordable housing units for long-term rental and for sale to families. This simple two-line target will then free up all the other broken parts of the Irish housing system, from homelessness families to land hoarding to finance for builders and prospective of homeowners, to the shortage of rental units with rents and sale prices that are out of control. We all agree that we need to be building at least 10,000 public-owned units a year, but the government could only manage 2,000 in all of last year and only 800 in the first 6 months of this year. Your predecessor, Minister Coveney, said that we would be taken by the surprise at how quickly your government will be building houses. We are surprised, all right. Those homes are still not built and won't be built for a number of years yet to come. This government's housing policy is not working and needs a sea change of attitude and focus. My colleague Deputy O'Brien has put in plain language, with no spin, no focus groups, no websites needed, to make our views in Fianna Fáil understood. My party leader, Micheál Martin, also didn't need to spend public money on expensive public relations consultants when he spoke last night in Trinity College about the concrete policy proposal, where we believe that the state should provide a subsidy of 50,000 units per unit, where it is estimated that it costs 210,000 to build a home on state-owned land. This will bring the average cost down to €160,000. This will then be affordable to units to householders on $45,000 a year. We could also stop the blame game where local authorities are being blamed for failures. Our local authorities must be allowed and empowered to build again, and along with this, the approved housing bodies and cooperatives are well positioned to deliver homes, but all the red tape needs to be reduced. Next week's budget needs to be a housing budget. It needs to prove that this government is listening to the citizens outside and to the elected members in this chamber. Next week's budget cannot and will not resolve the housing crisis, but can make a dramatic gear shift that is needed from this government. If the budget starts that process, then we in Fianna Fáil will be responsible in ensuring that housing delivery is increased rapidly. We will not exploit the crisis of political power, the empty promises of others in this House and the shallow and cynical politics of yesterday. We in Fianna Fáil will support every sensible, realistic and affordable proposal that will provide homes for all our citizens.